Okay, so what do you do when you receive this report from RTI in the mail? First of all, you have to make sure that you're looking at the right report. In general, the title has the word mass in it and not UNC for uncertainty or MDL for minimum detectable level. And one of the things that makes the reports hard to read is that the actual value that you're looking for, the mass value, which then you have to divide by volume, is way out here over in column AA. So to make it easier to look at, be sure to use these zoom buttons, which can zoom in or zoom out, and then you can see the end of the data is way over here in this column, with the most important bit being way over here where you might miss it. So what you need to do to import into the spreadsheet with the graph is you need to look at carefully the date. And another thing that makes these reports very tricky, look at the dates. So I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see it a little bit better. But if you could notice, one of the dates says 4/02/12, and then there's a completely different date format in the next column. That's an indicator that you had better not copy and paste these rows from the RTI sheet into your data, where you're keeping your data in your spreadsheet, because these dates are going to come out probably formatted as text and then not be able to be used in graphs or calculations. So you want to be really careful when using these RTI data sheets and probably end up typing in the information yourself rather than copying and pasting. So taking a look at this sheet here, we want to find, first of all, the filter ID, because that has to be unique, and that's over here in column K. So that's the Teflon filter ID. This value here, the filter ID, is going to go into this spreadsheet that the TAM Center made for you, into which you can add data at the bottom. This is all of your 2012 data. Here's the filter ID. Let me pull this over so you can see the whole thing. So I left a lot of the information from RTI in this data sheet. You can see that the columns that you need to fill in are highlighted in beige. And like I said, one of the most important fields is the filter ID field. You would type that in there. Then you would type in the other columns in beige. So the next one is what kind of filter it is. If it's a regular filter, PM 2.5, trip blank, or field blank. And in general, Excel will autocomplete those because it looks to the rows above in that same column and says, do you want trip blank? And then you can just click enter and it'll fill it in once you type in TR. Then the next column is this very important PM 2.5 mass that you get from the RTI report by looking way over here, way over here in column AA. So you're going to take this value here. You can see these values are fairly high. Some of them 261, 188. That's because they have not yet been divided by the volume of air that's being pulled through the Minivol, which is over here. And what I've done is I've assumed that the time is 24 hours. You can get that information from your chain of custody sheet, whether the Minivol timer ran for the full 24 hours, and then you can put in a different value in here yourself. If it ran for a complete 24 hours, this would be the cubic meters of air that have gone through that filter. So if you type in, so let's just say we're going to type in a filter number of, and then this is a routine, and then we go to the next beige column and we have to type in the mass. Let's just say that what RTI shows in that column AA, or whichever column it is on the sheet you receive, since sometimes their mass is in different columns, but you have to look carefully. Let's just say it's 70, and then it automatically calculates the micrograms per cubic meter just by dividing it by 7.2 cubic meters. Then the date, and now this average PM 2.5 column is used if you've got duplicates. So let's just say we did have another day, side-by-side Minivol on the same day. We also head filter ID that. It's a routine. And let's just say this produced a mass of 80 micrograms. It was on the same date. It automatically calculates it, and it automatically, although you will have to, because you're going to have trip blanks and field blanks in here, which is going to mess up the sequence of every other row taking the average. So you'll have to be really careful. But what you'll want to do is take the average of 2 rows in order to produce your average PM2.5 concentration between your 2 duplicates. Once you add a row, because I've set this up as a table, and you can tell it's formatted as a table in Excel because of this alternating light blue, dark blue format, it will automatically add this data that we just added from September 20th, 2012 to your graph. And you can see it added that point right there. On the graph is the limit of 12 micrograms per cubic meter, and you can see that this value, I think it was 11 was the average between the two, is right near that limit. And as you add data to the bottom of this table, it will continue expanding out this graph. After it gets a little full, you're probably going to have to pull it out like that and make it a little bit bigger in order to show all the points, because they'll start to get scrunched up.